Hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica, and this is the Love Project, where we discuss all things love: the love of God, the love in family, the love in friendships, the love in marriage, and all things in between. If you are new here, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and ring that bell and join the Love Squad. All right, so we are back with another video. This is our third part, part three of our tough conversation segment. And we're gonna jump right in. I believe I have a good video for you today. Today we will be discussing glorifying toxicity. So, as you know, there are a lot of things that we have grown up with. There's a lot of things that is being accepted. There's a lot of things that we are I guess dehumanized to, right? Desensitized to, in this time, in this season, in this culture, in this generation, that really just glorifies toxicity. And so today we're going to kind of touch on those things so that we can rid ourselves of whether it's sayings, whether it's the way we've been raised, whether it's things that the culture or our environment or our family has taught us that is really no good for us, and it hasn't proven to be healthy for our lifestyle, for our future, right? So we're going to kind of just touch on those things, and I'm hoping just at the end of this video you'll be able to look at your life, look at the different things that you see, that you've grown up around, and possibly are accepting, that you will again just rid and purge yourself of, so that you can see healthy family dynamics, healthy relationships, and overall just be a healthier version of yourself. So we're gonna jump right in. So first things first, we're gonna kind of discuss friendships. I don't think that we focus enough on how important friendships are. Friendships are very critical to our everyday life. The people that we spend our time with, the people that we trust, right? Whether it's us trusting them with relationship, whether it's us trusting them with our life, or whether us just trusting them, with our secrets and so on and so forth. Friendships are very, very important relationships, and I don't feel like people talk about them enough. But I am more than grateful for the friendships that I have, the ones I've established that's long term, and even the newer friendships that I have. I know for me, I would be considered one that is friendly. But again, I mean, the Bible tells us that if you want friends, be friendly. So I am a firm believer in that. I am probably one of those people that never meets a stranger. I wouldn't call everybody my friend, but I have more friends than the average person. And when I say that, I don't just mean like associates and people I talk to, but like genuine friendships that I invest in, and that they invest in me. So, as far as things that I feel like is toxic and that we kind of glorify in friendships is, one of the biggest ones is talking about each other. I've never been the type of friend that talk about my friend. I've always been a straightforward friend. If I have an issue with a friend of mine, if I have an issue with the actions of my friend, I address them. My friends know me to be very blunt. They know me to be very straightforward, and they know me to call them out. So my friends don't ever have to worry about me going to another friend and talking about them, especially if it's not nothing that I've already told them or nothing that I've already addressed them about. If anything, I would maybe use that friend relationship to then have a conversation or whatever in regards to the next friend, but never just kind of taking one friend and going to another friend and talk about them and vice versa. So I think that we've kind of made that a thing, and I see it a lot on like social media. I see like people falling out a lot, and then they exposing their friends, and people being subliminal on social media about people who they consider friends or supposed to be their friend and stuff like that. And of course, there's always drama where you again just talking about each other to each other. And I just never been a proponent of that. And I feel like a lot of times people think that is normal in friendships, but it's really not. And I feel like those things start really early on. um I've always been very intentional about not building my relationship off gossip, not building my relationship off being untrustworthy, because ultimately that's what it comes down to. I think all of my friends can testify over the years the many things that they have told me and entrusted me with, they have never heard it again. And I think that's important in friendships. But a lot of that stem from not want to correct your friends, not wanting to hold them accountable. So because you don't voice that correction or that accountability at that moment with that friend, you feel the need to take the conversation to somebody else and then say how you really feel about the situation. But all that does is breed toxicity, because if I'm your friend and I know that you have another friend and you come and talk to me about that friend, of course I'm going to think that you talk about me to your other friends. So that doesn't make room for trust. That doesn't make room for kind of being a safe place, a safe landing for your friends. It doesn't make room for truth, right? Because if I have a question, I need advice, I'm not going to ask you because last time when so and so asked you or so and so told you about something, you wasn't truthful with them, because you came running to me and telling me how you feel about the situation. And I'm like, why you just ain't tell them? So, that's something to be mindful of. I remember when growing up, how when I was meeting new friends, right? So you got like different people you consider your friends in school, and you got all these multiple friends, and they will say something about the other one, and then you'll have the one friend call you on three-way, and you like, oh, I'm gonna put you on three-way, but you'll be on mute and you listen to see what that person got to say about you. So I remember stuff like that, and those type of things really mocked me, because I'm telling you, I was like the straight up friend. And with that, another thing I feel like is very toxic in friendships is allowing one friend to talk about your other friend. So I know for me, I've had friends that don't like each other. They know that you're my friend and you're my friend, but y'all not friends, right? And with that, my friends know this friend cannot talk about this friend in front of me, right? I literally remember a situation where I had two friends, they couldn't stand each other, and their reasons was legit. It had nothing to do with our friendship. So I respected their reasons why they didn't like each other or whatever. But one of the friends was like going off, well, call herself trying to go off about my friend. Baby, I nipped that in the bud. I was like, what we not gonna do? However you feel about so and so, you can keep that to yourself. Don't tell it to me, because that's my friend. And I never had that issue with that person again. And on top of that, I really feel like from that moment on, the person who attempted to talk about my other friend to me knew that when the situation came up, if somebody was to do that about her, that I too would defend her in the same manner, because I don't play that. If you my friend and I'm your friend and this my friend, but they ain't your friend, then y'all stay in y'all separate corners. But what y'all not gonna do is, talk about my friend, because y'all still my friend. So y'all not gonna talk about my friend to me. I don't care if he is my friend. If you my friend, you ain't gonna talk about my friend to me. So, I've been in those type of situations on multiple occasions actually. And again, to me, it goes back to trust. It goes back to being honest. It goes back to defending and correcting a friend, right? Even if it's another friend, it go back to defending. I think the biggest component of having friends is that you have people to step up and speak up about you, about your character and stuff when you're not around. So if you're the same person that's dismantling my character, if you're the same person that's actually, tainting my character and my images in front of people, then yeah, you're no friend of mine. And I had a situation where this person, I don't know, I guess I didn't really I considered her a friend, but it was more so like a friend based on time and growing up together. Not that this was like a friend I had chosen in the world to be friends with. So it was based on a different foundation, I guess. But overall, she knew me. We spent time with each other. She slept at my house, all this type of stuff. So in a sense, we was friends. I was dating this guy, and she was working with the guy that I was dating, baby mama. And so I guess the baby mama was inquiring about me or whatever happened, but the girl who was considered a friend was basically telling this girl stuff about me. Again, I don't know if the girl asked. I don't know if she volunteered the information. What happened? But she shared information about me to another outside person. And of course, it got back to me. And when I found out about it, I was not happy about it. Now, again, I am very confrontational, meaning I'm going to come to you and I'm going to ask you about it. I didn't get a chance to ask her about it or whatever, but I ended up running into her. So we in the mall, I run into her, and it's so funny because I was with my little sister Sky, and that was Sky's first time seeing that side of me. And I run into the girl, and she like walk up and she like, oh hey, all of this stuff. When I tell y'all I had zoned out, I was like, don't say no head to me. And she's like, what's going on? I said, baby, don't speak to me. I was like, whatever you thought we had, whatever type of friendship, that's a done deal. And she acted like she don't know what's going on, and she go to hug Sky. I said, you can't hug her. You are no friend of mine. We done. If you ever see me again, you see me in public, don't speak to me, don't say nothing to me. You don't know me. Or whatever. And she like, what happened? What happened? I'm like, you know what happened. I was like, you at your job with my dude, baby mama, telling her stuff about me or talking about me or whatever. I was like, and I don't respect that. I don't, play those type of games. So again, we done. The best thing you could do is just go ahead about your business now and just know we done. If you see me, we ain't talking no more. And so, she kind of left because, again, we grew up together, so she knew what was up. And I said what I said, and we went our separate ways. But, of course, she go back to the person who came and told me what happened, and, whatever. But at that point, I'm like, there is nothing to discuss. Because, mind you, and honestly, I can't even say that what was said was bad. Uh, you know, Talking down on me. I can't say it was nothing like that because I really don't feel like she had nothing to say about me in that regard. But the person who she was talking to is an outsider, in my opinion, is an outsider to our relationship. You have nothing to share about me with nobody else. If she needed to know anything, you should have sent her over there to me. And anything I wanted to know, I would have told her. So that's the type of person I am. Those are the standards that I live by, and that's how I am with friends. So I truly believe in not making any room for toxicity in friendships. Either you're my friend or you're not. I am a great friend. I am a friend that's coming behind you 100%. I am like, if I'm for you, I'm for you, and that's what it is. And I'll defend you at all costs. So, of course, I expect the same. And thankfully, I've been able to find that in mostly all my friends. But mostly because that's what I present to my friendship and to the world. So, I just don't like that. I feel like we are glorifying these things, mess, gossip, untrustworthiness, and we wonder why our friendships aren't growing, why they aren't blossoming, why um, they don't last, why they end abruptly, and why they end in toxicity. So I just and even I'm talking about this because even as we raise children or we see kids doing certain things, um I think it's important, if you see your kids the way their dynamics is with their friends, that you tell them, no, that's not what friends do. Y'all don't talk about each other. Y'all don't fight each other. You don't treat them different because this other person that came around. You don't hang with them and play with them, but then when your cousin come or when your other friend come, you be mean to them. So all of these things are learned behavior, and that's why it's kind of a part of the topic, because and mind you, I believe that there is no age limit of meeting friends. So I think even if you did have toxic friendships, or you really didn't know how to be a good friend or how to select good friends, I think this will be helpful to kind of, again, set that standard so that you can really build foundational friendships that last, that edifies you, and that is good and healthy for you. Um, the second thing I would like to talk about is like family relationships. Now, of course, this one is much, much deeper because, baby, when I tell you family relationships can get toxic, and I ain't having it. So, we really have to get to some healthy, stable relationships in our family, man, because it be toxic. But one of the things I feel like we glorify that is very, very toxic in family relationship is glorifying single mothers. My mom was a single mom, but listen, I do not like the fact that we glorify being a single mom. Listen, I love single mothers. Again, my mom was a single mom, and she really did the best she knew to do. Um and so I have nothing against single moms, but the way that we um again just glorify the I think it's one thing to um appreciate how single mothers step up when it don't pan out the way they believe or the way they thought it would, right? I don't think every woman had a baby with a man and expected to be a single mama. And there's other ways you can be a single mom. I mean, I know women who was married and they lost their spouse and now they're a single parent. Um, and again, I don't, to me, honestly, widowed or divorced woman who is a single parent, I don't categorize as a single mom, a single mama. But to each his own. But I say that to say that I think the part that bothers me is not presenting the truth of the fact that you don't want to be a single mother. You would prefer it another way. It is hard because I feel like a lot of times we equate strength with with good, right? So just because a mother is strong and step up and do what she need to do to take care of her child doesn't mean that it's good or that's the way it should be, right? We equate um trauma, right, with normality, right? So that is what glorifying toxicity is. We're saying this trauma is normal, and it's not, right? So to be a single mother have become so normal that we no longer call it wrong. I mean, it's still true that you should not have kids outside of marriage, because the odds of you actually having a family from that, the odds of you actually raising your kids together is so small that having kids out of wedlock can easily equal being a single parent. And that's man or woman, right? Because usually it's one responsible person and one person who don't want to be responsible. And that could vary. Mamas is more common, obviously, because, mama's baby, daddy maybe. But, is again, I feel like as a culture, we really have glorified this to the point of you have people who even decide, like, we want love so bad that we're willing to have a child as if it's like buying a puppy, right? I know my child gonna love me. Yeah, but at what cost? You're doing what you want for your satisfaction, for what you lacking, but then what about the child? Or just not caring and choosing to live a lifestyle that ultimately makes you end up with kids that don't have dads. And a lot of times, this not happening one time. This is happening multiple times, over and over again. You're going from this man to that man, having their kids, and these kids don't have no dad. And then you act like that doesn't have an effect on them. No matter how good of a mother you are, you will never be a dad. No matter how great of a provider that you are, that child still wants a father. He or she still wants a father figure. He or she wants both of you. Even if, honestly, the parent could be on drugs, the parent could be abusive, that's not going to change the longing in a child for both of the parents. So, again, I just feel like that's something that we glorify, because I did it by myself, and you could do it by yourself. And it's like, as women, older women, are we telling our younger women, like, listen, I did it and I may have made it look easy, but that's not the way to go. I feel like a lot of times they wasn't even trying to prevent you from being a single mother. They was just trying to prevent you from being a teenage mother. But they will tell you, oh, don't get pregnant. You don't get pregnant in high school and all this stuff. But nobody ever was like, don't get pregnant before a man chooses you as his wife. Don't get pregnant for a man who haven't showed you that he was with you for the long haul. Therefore, will be with you and the child, right? All these different things. So, I think that is very toxic. And then there's a lot of toxicity that is like a cause and effect of being a single mother. I feel like there's a lot of projection. I feel like as single mothers, with their sons, they project a lot of either their desire for a man onto their son, or the hurt that men have caused them onto their son, to then go and be that same type of man to their women and their girlfriends and their wives down the line. So a lot of times I feel like mothers will either cling to their son, right, making him the man of the house, cooking for him and ironing his clothes and doing all this thing, almost like they son they man. It's real creepy. But again, this toxicity that people don't want to talk about. But women who are single mothers can be real creepy with their sons, and that ain't healthy, and it ain't normal. Or they will, tell their sons these things like, don't trust these women, and don't love these women. You do what you do and go about your business, and and it's like, That's the same stuff that their daddy probably did to you, or the men in your life probably did to you, and you gonna actually teach that to your son, who then gotta go be a wife. I mean, who then gotta go be a husband to somebody else's daughter. So it's a cycle, right? And so they project their insecurities, they project their hurt, they project their lack of love, they project their desire to have a man to protect them, to provide for them, and so on and so forth onto their sons. And that is very, very toxic. They also project onto them their daughters, right? So, I remember growing up where it was pretty much like a saying that no woman who got a should ever be broke. So here we are sexualizing our daughters. Here we are kind of like raising our daughters to sell and offer themselves up for material things, right? And that leads to so much stuff in a young girl life. That leads to being promiscuous, right? Because you then feel like, one, if a man take care of you, you have to give something in return. You begin to feel that in order to get what you want from a man, you have to use your body to do so, and so on and so forth. It also, I feel like, create relationships with older men, like the whole sugar daddy thing is, right? Because I got a body, I should get money, and most likely the boys your age don't got no money. So then you start dealing with these older men who is willing to give you the money, but again, it's at a cost. And a lot of times it's at the cost of your body, is at the cost of your identity, is at the cost of your self-esteem, is at the cost of your body count, and so on and so forth. But I feel like, again, I think these are things that's mostly produced in single parent household. So there's levels, honestly, of toxicity that flows from that vein. And it's sad to say, and again, these are things that we don't want to acknowledge. And we glorify how we so strong because we saw our mother who was strong, and we saw our grandmother who was strong, and our aunt who was strong. But what is strong men at? I would much rather a man tell me how he's so strong and he's such a provider and he's such a protector because his daddy was strong and his daddy provided and his daddy was protective and his grandfather was. We in the wrong vein. We in the wrong vein. And it has been very toxic to our community. It's been very toxic to our generations. It's been very toxic to our mental health, right? And the biggest toxic thing amongst the family, more than anything, is withholding secrets, teaching to keep secrets. That has been very, very toxic to the family relationship, the family dynamic. That whole what happens in this house stays in this house, because we have nurtured breathing ground for toxicity in the family. This makes room for molestation. This makes room for word curses and kind of tearing down self-esteem of the kids, whether it's a son or a daughter. This makes room for abuse of all kind in a household that is never spoken of. And the thing is, just because you escape the environment doesn't mean you escape the behavior. What do I mean? So, if you grew up in an abusive household, say your mom and daddy used to be fighting or whatever, you could run away, right? You could move out. You could escape that environment. The odds of you actually ending up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, a household where y'all fight and you're being abused is so high because, again, you can escape the environment, but you won't escape the behavior. So that is why it is very, very important for us to notice, to recognize, to acknowledge these toxic behaviors in our family and say it ends with us. It ends with us because you have to look at your family and be like, this ain't normal. Like, the reason I don't have kids is because I did not want to be a single parent. I prided myself on not putting myself in a situation where I would have to bring a child into the world and they not have the advantage of both parents. Again, life happens. I mean, even married, me and my husband could have kids. Something could happen to me, something could happen to him. Well, one of us end up being a single parent. That's not the same. That's not the same as the intention behind me choosing to provide that opportunity of my child having both parents, right? And so yeah, so that's the thing. I just think it's so important that, again, we acknowledge these things, to look at our life, look at our family, and become the person that desires to live by the standard. And by the standard, I mean God's way is the standard, right? The word of God is the standard. That's why it's so hard to be a Christian. Like, people be saying that the Bible is man-made. What man made it? Please tell me the man that made it. Because I don't know no one in the world that will set a standard higher than they can actually achieve. If the Bible was man-made, right? Now, I didn't say the Bible wasn't man-written. It was man-written, inspired by the Holy Spirit. But if the Bible was man-made, then they would have made stuff that men like to do. They would have said, oh, this is okay and this is okay because they want to do it, right? You see how we pick and choose in the Bible? We do that because our sinful nature want to make wiggle room to do what they want to do. So if man really made the Bible, baby, we'll be able to wiggle around everything. But it's not. It's God's standards. God said that this is how we should live. Though it's going to be hard for you to get here. But as you live life, you strive every day, every day, every day. And truth be told, you'll never get there because we could never be perfect. That's why we got Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for being perfect for us. We'll never be perfect. But long as that standard is there, we can strive. We can strive all the time to be better. And that's all this video is about, right? To really recognize things that are toxic and say, no, this is the standard of friendship. This is the standard of family dynamics. This is the standard of this. And then we strive to get as close to that mark as possible. All right. So the next thing we can talk about that I see toxic glorification and toxic traits in is dating. Listen. We already know. You listen to all these podcasts and guess what? They got the blue pill and the red pill community, and baby, it's so toxic, y'all. It's so much. And it just started because when I was out there in the dating pool, I was like, Lord, you sure you got somebody out here? Because, baby, they hard to find. So I feel y'all. And I do feel like one of the things that we glorify in toxic dating is that at least mentality. And the at least mentality is like where we just put up with anything, right? It's at least I got a man. So you got a man, but it's like you're single because you have to do everything by yourself. You not secure, right? You gotta take care of all the bills by yourself. He just somebody laying in the bed with you at night. But you need something paid. You can't ask him for nothing. You don't know how much he make. He don't bring his check home. So it's that, at least I got a man. You got a man, but if you had a emergency, you're gonna call your mama, or you're gonna call your family, or you're gonna call this person, and you got a man. So that at least mentality is very, very toxic. And any woman who have to say that, like, well, at least he come home every night. I mean, if I ain't had nowhere to live, I'll come home every night too. You got cats and dogs that come home every night. So, yeah, if you got a at least mentality, then most likely your relationship is very, very toxic. Just that at least he pay the bills, right? We have situations where you got men who they bring the money home, but there is you paying more cost than them. Let's put it like that. He may be putting out the money, but you stress, you depressed, he cheating, he beating on you, he talking crazy to you, he don't like your children and all this stuff. So you got this at least mentality that is very, very toxic in dating, and is not acceptable. People be trying to say like, well, you can't have your standards too high. Some things ain't it ain't high standards. It's like required, right? I that's another thing, like with like parenting, right? Where people will be like, well, you know, my children have a roof over their head and they eat every day and all this stuff. I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do. You wanna pat on your back for doing what you're supposed to do. Now I'm not saying what you're supposed to do is easy. So I commend you for making it happen, but that's what you're supposed to do. Parents take care of children. That ain't nothing to be, getting no award for. So I feel the same way about men. There are certain things that men just supposed to do. So if you talk about at least he do this and at least he do that, I'm like, ain't that's what men supposed to do? Ain't no man was ever able to tell me about like getting pat on the back for taking care of me or whatever, because I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do, boo. You hear me? So, if you in one of those places where you have to um almost acknowledge, especially to other people, what this person brings to the table to try and build them up, then yeah, most likely it's toxic. I'm not saying always, but most likely it's toxic. Because if I got to come tell you everything my man do for me to, he take care of me and he do this, and he taking me on a vacation and all, like, I just feel like that stuff is, if you got to tell me that, then what you're not telling me is the question. So I just be leery of stuff like that. Another thing I find to be very toxic is like women using men for money, men using women for somewhere to stay, and stuff like that. It's like, don't stop moving with people. I don't think no man should move in with a woman unless y'all buying a house together, or there is going to be a major investment. Like, for instance, if you meet a mate and you have a house and they have an apartment, right? And then y'all move together. Hopefully y'all married, but y'all move together. He should automatically start paying the mortgage. He should automatically start paying the mortgage, because he cannot move into your house and be free of rent. Why they do that at? No. If anything, Because I'm not moving with you, it's gonna be like I move with you, because when you come over here, you're gonna be paying this mortgage. So I, it's automatic to me. To me. So I just find it very toxic when, women use men for their money. If you don't want him, if you don't like him, if you think he ugly, if, whatever, don't take that man money. Don't take his money. Don't take it. Don't be using nobody for their funds. If you don't want this woman and you don't like her like that, and you won't go be with this one and sleep with that one, why you living in her house? Sucking up her air, eating her children fruit snacks. Just go about your business. So, again, very, very toxic, but this is so normal. And it's so funny because pretty much like the apartment house situation, it's what was the case with me and my husband when we first met. But I just respect my husband so much because he ended up buying his house or whatever before we got married, and of course, I ended up moving with him. But he told me, and he never had said this before, but he was like, it was very, very important for him to buy his house and me moving with him and him not moving with me. He was like, because that was one of those generational cycles in his family where he always saw the men moving in with the woman. He didn't come from men who established themselves and built a life and a home for their wife. Instead, they will go and, lay on the woman. Not to say that they weren't paying bills or nothing. I mean, I don't know the details about that. But just constantly seeing all the men in his family go and live with the woman. Instead of them, again, building a life and bringing the woman into their fold. So that was very important to him, and I'm grateful that God, granted his heart desire to be able to purchase a home and, be able to move me into his home, and, really break that in his family. So again, those situations can be very, very toxic. And then a big part of that whole moving with a woman is like just using her, and at the same time you damaging her, right? So women, we latch in more ways than one. We latch emotionally, we latch physically, we latch mentally, right? We latch financially. Usually when you get a woman to fall for you, there is nothing she won't do to you. There is no area of her life that she won't open up to you. So to take advantage of that, and at the same time you damaging this woman's heart, right? You damaging her self-esteem, you damage her emotions, right? I just think that that's very toxic, and we see that so much, and that's why a lot of women have trust issues, because men will play the game, and then when they get in your good graces, they will tear you down to the dogs, and leave you there, and it's not hard to bounce back after those type of toxic relationship, and after that type of investment, of time, heart, finances, mental space, so on and so forth. So again, we just have to be upfront. Like, I will tell any female that I'm dealing with, when they kind of tell me the dynamics of their relationship, I'm like, girl, run. Most likely that's not gonna end well. And hand to the sky, I can't say that it's ever a situation that I've been wrong. When they didn't listen, it most likely panned out the way they say. I have friends that I was like, baby, you better hold on to him. He is a good man. He love you. And sure enough, they together to this day. So I've always been able to kind of see people, see their intentions, and be able to, speak to that. And another thing I feel like is very, very toxic in dating is ghosting people. Ghosting people has become so common, and it is very toxic, y'all. If you are the type that ghosts people, please don't do that. Don't do that. Like, what is so hard about just letting the person know, hey, this ain't working out, let's just move forward. Hey, I mean, when I've been out on a couple of dates and, you're a very cool person, but I just don't see this going nowhere long term. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time, and keep it moving. What's so hard about just saying that, when we was talking about the whole having children situation, we not on the same page. So to save me and you the trouble, let's just go our separate ways. There is so many ways you can let people off easy. Whether they take it good or not, that's not on you. If they take it well, good. If they don't, good. That's on them. But the fact that you have to present them the option, right? Don't just ghost people. Don't just block people and never talk to them again. If they don't curse you out or do nothing, like, well, at the end of the day, now if you think I'm talking to you after this again, then you throw it off, right? Now that's different. But to genuinely be trying to get to know somebody, or somebody trying to get to know you, and then you just ghost them, that is so toxic. And that is not a good way to date. And if you've been dating like that, honestly, you probably need to repent for that. Because that's probably why you're single. You're probably single because you don't have good communication skills. You're probably single because you're not honest. Like, ghosting a person, if you're a person that ghosts people, then you're not an honest person. If you gotta go duck off on somebody with no closure, without them knowing what happened, without them knowing what's going on, they could think you done died in a car wreck something, because in their mind everything was going good, and now you know where to be found. They've been texting you or calling you for days and they can't get in touch with you, but then you posting on social media. Like, it's childish. Again, it's very untruthful, very untrustworthy. Now, don't get me wrong, if it was me, I would be like, oh yeah, there ain't nobody I need to deal with anyway, so thank you, Lord. But everybody not like that. Everybody don't know how to one, take things for what it is, and everybody don't know how to control their emotions of how certain things make them feel. So for you to, again, ghost people, that can be very traumatic to people, especially if they dating, especially if they're experiencing that on multiple occasions. And again, that's the climate of dating right now. People just literally just ghosting people. They've been talking to them for months and then they just disappear. Again, this person think that things are going well, and they either said something, did something, or you actually talking to other people and you might like this person more, and then you just ghost them, and that's not cool. So that is very toxic. So again, if you have done that, you need to repent, because I don't see the Lord bringing you nobody, no good man, no good woman, and you've been out here intentionally hurting people's feelings. You've been out here intentionally being untruthful by not just telling them why, you don't want to talk to them no more, whatever. So, very toxic. And that needs to be changed in the dating world. People need to be more upfront. All right? So, those are just the 3 things that I wanted to talk on. So, we getting away from glorifying toxicity, whether it's in your friendships, whether it's in your family dynamics, whether it's in dating, right? There's many other categories we could talk about this on, but those are the 3 main ones I really wanted to talk about. I know about some toxicity in marriages too, but we could save that for another date. But anywho, thank you all for listening. Thank you for staying through this, through these series, right? This is part 3, and I will be throwing another video in the mix, which is a part 2 to an older video that we did as we come into the holidays. So until I see you next time, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy this video, enjoy the next video, and we will be back with part 4 in a couple weeks. If you have any questions, please be sure to either comment below or email us at our email address that will be linked below, and or just message me. But love ya. See you next time. Love ya.